Good evening. I would like to call the January 9th, 2017 Bellbrook City Council meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I guess first, we had an executive session earlier. So I need to have a motion to come out of executive session.
So
may I have a second?
Second.
And roll call.
Okay. Motion by Mayor Baird to exit out of executive session, seconded by, who?
This is me.
Nick.
Nick.
Okay. Mayor Baird?
Yes.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Greenwood?
Yes.
Mr. McGill?
Yes.
Mrs. Middlestetter?
Yes.
Mrs. Seeger Lawson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schweller?
Yes.
And the executive session was regarding personnel matter, compensation of a public official, and annual performance evaluation of the city manager. So that's what we had did earlier. So we've already done our roll call for the evening. Formal approval of City Council work session and regular meeting minutes of December 12th, 2016. Does any member on council have any corrections or additions to the regular City Council meeting minutes of the last meeting?
Nope.
None, Mayor.
None, Mayor.
Seeing none, the minutes are approved as written. Mayor's announcements, special guests, I have none. Public hearings and ordinances, I have none. Introduction of resolutions, we have 3 this evening. We'll start with Resolution 2017-A. Mr. Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 2017-A, a resolution by the Council of the City of Bellbrook requesting the county auditor to certify the total current tax valuation of the City of Bellbrook and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by a specified number of mills. Whereas the Council of the City of Bellbrook, Ohio desires to request the voters to approve a 1.30 mil 5-year renewal general fund levy in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the purpose of providing current operating expenses, and whereas pursuant to section 5705.03 of the revised code, council is required to certify to the county auditor a resolution requesting a total current tax value of the City of Bellbrook and the dollar amount of the revenue that would be generated by a specified number of mills. Now therefore, the City of Bellbrook here resolves, Section 1, that pursuant to the provisions of Section 5705.19 of the revised code, it is necessary that a renewal tax be levied in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the benefit of the City of Bellbrook for the purpose of providing current operating expenses of the general fund at a rate not exceeding 1.30 mils for each dollar of valuation, which amounts to 13 cents for each $100 of valuation for a 5-year period of time. Section 2, that the question of passage of said renewal tax levy be submitted to the electors of the city, an election to be held on May 2nd, 2017. The majority of the voters voting on this renewal levy vote in favor thereof. That tax levy will be first placed on the tax list of duplicate for the tax year 2017 for collection in the calendar year 2018. Section 3, that pursuant to Section 5705.03 of the revised code, the county auditor is hereby requested to certify to the City of Bellbrook the total current tax valuation of the city and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by a number of mills specified in Section 1 hereof, and that the clerk of council is hereby directed to certify forthwith a copy of this resolution to the county auditor upon its passage. Section 4, that this resolution shall take effect and be enforced forthwith.
Yes, this levy is a 5-year renewable levy for the general fund. We are looking to put this on the ballot for the May 2017 primary election. There would be no tax increase associated with this. It would just be a renewal of the existing levy. The current levy of 1.3 mil generates about $210,000 a year for the city. Would continue to generate that. We are required, because this is a 5-year levy, to renew or replace this every 5 years. It was last done in 2012. as we've talked about during the budget process, we're likely to have other property tax levies before council later this year, but this one is very important to us. This $210,000 is critical to our ongoing operations, and this is the first step in a two-step process to place it on the ballot. First thing is you ask for the valuation from the county auditor. Once we get that valuation, at the next meeting, we'll have a resolution going to the Board of Elections with the specific language for this levy to be put on the ballot in May.
Do we have any questions for our city manager? Seeing none, may I have a motion to adopt resolution 2017-A?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2017-A.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Mr. Edwards to adopt Resolution 2017-A, a resolution by the Council of the City of Bellbrook requesting the county auditor to certify the total current tax valuation of the City of Bellbrook and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by a specified number of mills, seconded by Mr. McGill. Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. McGill?
Yes.
Mr. Greenwood?
Yes.
Mrs. Middlestetter?
Yes.
Mrs. Seeger Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Schweller?
Yes.
Mayor Baird?
Yes. Moving on, resolution 2017-B. Mr. Schweller.
Yes, Mayor, resolution number 2017-B, a resolution authorizing the city manager/finance director to file with the Greene County Auditor requests for advances of taxes collected. Whereas the Greene County Treasurer is in the process of collecting property taxes for 2017, and whereas tax settlements will return to the city those taxes collected for the police, fire, general, and police pension funds, and whereas these settlements will not be ready in final form until after a significant amount of the taxes are collected, and whereas such advances of taxes provide the city with a percentage of taxes already collected, which can then be expended by the city, now therefore the City of Bellbrook hereby resolves, Section 1, that the city manager/finance director is hereby authorized to request advances of taxes in amounts collected in amounts authorized by the Greene County Auditor at those times during 2017 when sufficient taxes have been collected. In Section 2, this resolution shall take effect and be in force forthwith. This is an annual request to get funds in a little bit earlier and to keep the cash flow going. And
Right, otherwise we wouldn't get any, if we did not get the advances, we would not get the money until March timeframe. This, as they collect it, they'll send us what they can allocate. We, on a side note to this, we just received the tax rates for this year, and our residents will actually see a very slight decrease in their tax bill from what they paid last year. The school had a very slight decrease in one of their bond levies, and there were no new or replacement levies in Greene County affecting Bellbrook residents this year. So everyone will see just at least a small decrease, should see a small decrease in their property taxes. And when they pay it, we'll be able to get it a little sooner with this resolution.
good.
Any questions for our city manager? Seeing none, may I have a motion to adopt resolution 2017-B?
Mayor, I'd like to move for the adoption of resolution 2017-B.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
And roll call.
Motion by Mr. Schweller to adopt Resolution 2017-B, a resolution authorizing the city manager/finance director to file with the Greene County Auditor request for advances of taxes collected. Seconded by Mrs. Seeger Lawson. Mr. Schweller?
Yes.
Mrs. Seeger Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Greenwood?
Yes.
Mr. McGill?
Yes.
Mrs. Middlestetter?
Yes.
Mayor Baird?
Yes. One more resolution this evening, resolution 2017-C. Mr. Greenwood.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 2017-C. A resolution directing the Greene County Auditor to enter the delinquent cost of weed and grass mowing on the tax duplicate for the properties attached hereunto. Whereas the City of Bellbrook, following all applicable procedures contained in the Bellbrook Municipal Code, caused overgrown grass and weeds to be cut on properties located in the City of Bellbrook. And whereas Bellbrook Municipal Code Section 678.03 sub B authorizes the delinquent cost of such action to be certified to the Greene County Auditor to be entered upon the tax duplicate. And whereas the collection of such delinquent costs are in the best interest of the city and its citizens. Now therefore, the City of Bellbrook hereby resolves, Section 1, that the costs have been incurred for for the mowing of grass and weeds that have not been paid by the property owners is $362.50. Section 2, that the costs incurred shall be entered on the tax duplicate for the properties attached hereunto. Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect and be enforced forthwith.
Yes, we do these assessments periodically. As far as the weed and grass mowing, we do it a couple times a year. Last time we did it was August, so this picks up any delinquent invoices that haven't been paid for the end of the year. Over the last several years, we've seen a pretty steady decline in the amount of delinquent invoices. This is just one property that's been a problem property for a number of years, so it's not really surprising, but we'll assess it, we'll get our property taxes out of it, or we'll get it paid through property taxes here probably this year. So with this action, we'll be able to send it to the county auditor, and they will get it on the taxes to be paid that way.
Mark, do you think that's because there's less foreclosed properties maybe?
Yeah, yes, I think there's more, there's less vacancies, less foreclosures, so people are maintaining their own properties, and it's in their best interest to, I think the properties are turning over also, you know, if a house goes up for sale now in Bellbrook, it sells pretty quickly, so,
No.
yeah.
Any other questions for our city manager? Seeing none, may I have a motion to adopt a resolution 2017-C?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2017-C.
May I have a second?
Second.
And roll call.
Motion by Mr. Greenwood to adopt Resolution 2017-C, a resolution directing the Greene County Auditor to enter the delinquent cost of weed and grass mowing on the tax duplicate for the properties attached hereto, seconded by Mr. McGill. Mr. Greenwood?
Yes.
Mr. McGill?
Yes.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mrs. Seeger Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Middlestetter?
Yes.
Mr. Schweller?
Yes.
Mayor Baird?
Yes. Moving on, that's it for resolutions this evening. We do have a city manager's report. Mr. Cloghead.
Yes, just a couple items. First, our next meeting is January 23rd. In advance of that meeting, we're going to actually meet at the museum at 5:30, have a quote-unquote work session at the museum starting at 5:30. The chairman of the museum board had asked, and I thought it was a good idea, to give a tour of that facility to council so that they can see that. So we'll meet over there at 5:30 on the 23rd, and then we'll come back over here for our regular 7 o'clock meeting. So we'll send out notices again when we send out the packet, but just want to let everyone know. And then the only other thing I have is over the next couple meetings, we'll have the various department heads coming to give their annual reports for 2016. The police will be coming, the fire department will be coming. We've got an overview of some of the administrative type things that'll be happening also in the next few meetings. So we'll have some a recap of 2016 over the next few meetings, and that is all I have this evening.
Any questions for our city manager? Seeing none, we will move on to committee reports. Service.
No report tonight.
Safety.
Just a few notes, Mayor. Today's Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. For our police department, all officers met and completed the 11 hours of continuing professional training and continuation of education for 2016. That was mandated by the state, so that's all completed for last year. In 2017, 20 hours are required. State of Ohio has provided a blueprint on how to accomplish and be reimbursed by the state for the training. So that's a little bit of burden off the budget. And I know that the training that they have been working on also is collaboration law enforcement agency certification process. That's voluntary, and they've worked on this. It's very effective for all of our officers. And Chief Daugherty, when he does his reports, has given his report on February 17th. He's going to expound on that different kinds of training. Police department's really, the chief is really, and the lieutenant's done a very good job on his training, and that's for the type of work they do. That's really important. If any of the people out in the audience have time to watch the presentation by the chief the 17th, I think it's interesting. It lays out what they've done for the year. It gives you trends to the city, the types of things that happen. And it's a good thing to watch. You get a lot of information. And the chief does real good when he does a presentation. And if you want, maybe ask him some questions, if you have questions about the police department. Fire department, doing a great job as usual. I know there was some mention of some sirens for a grant, and if that happens, I asked him is there anything that we have to look for on that, and he said, like anything new, it's kind of like training the public on, what's that sound or whatever. We haven't had one in a long time. We used to have them. But if it does happen, that'll come down the pipe. And the chief's Nyhard, the fire department, annual report would be February 27th. And there again, it's good to come and watch that. Watch it or come here and see it. Does an excellent job on his presentation, and a lot of information's given. And there again, if you have questions on how the fire department functions or what the trends are, you can get that information. And there again, I appreciate the police and fire department. They're running very well, and I appreciate all they do. And that's all I have here.
Thank you very much. Finance and audit?
Mayor, nothing to report this evening.
Community affairs, I think we have a few things.
Yes, we do. We have 2 appointments to recommend. Meredith Glick-Brinegar to the Board of Zoning Appeals and Property Review Commission for a term beginning February 1st, 2017 through January 31st, 2022 is the first one.
Do we want to do these then too?
They all need to be separate.
Okay. Any questions or discussion on the recommendations to appointment? Seeing none, may I have a motion to recommend the appointments of Meredith Glick, how'd you pronounce her last name?
Brinegar.
And Denny Bennett?
Well, we're not doing
We're
that yet.
doing Denny
We're not
Oh,
doing
we're
that.
doing one at a time.
We have to do them
Oh,
separately.
Okay.
Make a motion to recommend the appointment of Meredith Glick-Brinegar to the Board of Zoning Appeals and Property Review Commission. Mayor.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Mr. McGill to recommend appointment of Meredith Glick-Brinegar to serve on the Board of Zoning Appeals and Property Review Commission. Term is February 1st, 2017 to 1/31/22. Seconded by Mrs. Middlestetter. Mr. McGill?
Yes.
Mrs. Middlestetter?
Yes.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Greenwood?
Yes.
Mrs. Seeger Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Schweller?
Yes.
Mayor Baird?
Yes. I believe you have another one.
Yes, I do. We are recommending the appointment of Denny Bennett to the Planning Board, term January 1, 2017 to December 31, 2021. Is that January 1? Should that be February 1?
No, it's January
It
1.
is
They're different.
January.
Yeah, they
It's
are.
retroactive.
No, yes, this will be retroactive, and
Okay.
that's the full term.
I
Because
didn't
it's, yeah.
pick that up. Okay.
Yep.
So,
May I have a motion?
that's the recommended, I recommend the appointment of Denny Bennett to the Planning Board.
Any questions or discussion on Mr. Bennett? I think we all know Denny. If not, may I have a motion to appoint Denny Bennett to the Planning Board, terms January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2021.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Mrs. Middlestetter to recommend appointment of Denny Bennett to serve on the Planning Board, term 1/1/2017 to 12/31/2021. Seconded by Mr. Edwards. Mrs. Middlestetter?
Yes.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Greenwood?
Yes.
Mr. McGill?
Yes.
Mrs. Seeger Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Schweller?
Yes.
Mayor Baird?
Yes. Community affairs, anything else?
That's the only thing for now.
All right. Is there any old business to come before us this evening? I see no one shaking their head. We do have some new business this evening. The first is to accept the resignation of Susan Weeks from the Village Review Board. then it looks like we will be, we have.
No, they're separate. So Susan Weeks is just appointed, but for personal reasons is resigning from the board, so that will leave a vacancy on that board. So that's the first item.
Okay, so, any discussion to accept the resignation of Susan Weeks? Seeing none, may I have a motion to accept the resignation of Susan Weeks from the Village Review Board?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Edwards to accept the resignation of Susan Weeks from the Village Review Board, seconded by Mrs. Seeger Lawson. Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mrs. Seeger Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Greenwood?
Yes.
Mr. McGill?
Yes.
Mrs. Middlestetter?
Yes.
Mr. Schweller?
Yes.
Mayor Baird?
Yes. One more appointment this evening. We have Dana Ducro to the Village Review Board. Term expires February 1st, 2017 to January 31st, 2020. She was just recently appointed last year.
Technically, this is a
So
it's a
we're
reappoint-
reappointment.
Yes, it's.
So we would like to reappoint Dana. Does anyone have any questions? If not, may I have a motion to reappoint Dana Ducro to the Village Review Board, terms February 1st, 2017 to January 31st, 2020.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
And roll call.
Motion by Mr. McGill to reappoint Dana Ducro to serve on the Village Review Board, term 2/1/17 to 1/31/2020, seconded by Mrs. Middlestetter. Mr. McGill?
Yes.
Mrs. Middlestetter?
Yes.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Greenwood?
Yes.
Mrs. Seeger Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Schweller?
Yes.
Mayor Baird?
Yes. Moving on, committee appointments. We would like to discuss this. I think we really don't have any changes, but we will need a motion.
Just a motion to approve the committee assignments for 2017.
And so I will need a motion, and the committee assignments for 2017 is Finance and Audit, Mike Schweller Chair, Nick Edwards, and Donna Seeger Lawson. Safety, Forrest Greenwood Chair, Daryl McGill, and Elaine Middlestetter. And then Community Affairs, Elaine Middlestetter, can't talk tonight, Elaine Middlestetter Chair,
I had
Nick
trouble with that name,
Edwards,
too.
and Daryl McGill. And Service, Donna Seeger Lawson Chair, Forrest Greenwood, and Mike Schweller. May I have a motion to, I guess it's appoint
Approve.
or approve the committee assignments for 2016,
17.
or 17?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
And a roll call.
Motion by Mr. Schweller to approve the 2017 council committee assignments, seconded by Mr. Edwards. Mr. Schweller?
Yes.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Greenwood?
Yes.
Mr. McGill?
Yes.
Mrs. Middlestetter?
Yes.
Mrs. Seeger Lawson?
Yes.
Mayor Baird?
Yes. Moving on, we have, I think that's all the new business we have before us this evening, unless someone else has something else. Seeing none, open discussion. Nick?
Nothing, Mayor.
Forrest?
I'd just like to wish everybody a happy new year and looking forward to working with everybody this year. That's all I have.
Service department working very hard in recent snows and with traffic conditions that were horrible. And one day, they did an excellent job, I think.
Yes, they do, and I think, me personally, it seems like I get a lot of comments about when people leave the city of Bellbrook and go somewhere else, so I think they do a great job, so.
They sure do.
And
I have nothing new, or nothing more. I have nothing.
I have nothing, Mayor.
And the only thing I have, and I can't remember, maybe they can correct me at city council, a longtime member of the Chamber of Commerce passed away recently, Bob Reed. Bob was a good friend of mine for over, 20, 25 years. Bob and Liz got me started in the Chamber of Commerce when I was in my early 20s. Bob didn't want to be in the spotlight, but he was very involved in a lot of things. And I believe he was, I'd have to ask Denny, I think 88 years old. And he had been ill for a while, but recently passed away. He has no kids. He has a niece in Florida, and as of this time, there are no services. I don't know if she will do something. I think we may do something amongst us who knew Bob and all his involvement, not just in the Chamber of Commerce, but also he got very involved in politics back in the Homestead Savings and Loan scandals back a long time ago. And after that, he kept active and definitely had his own thoughts on everything. And he was a very great guy, played a lot of golf with him. He had a long and good life. His brothers are still alive, and they're all much older. But so Bob will be greatly missed, and he hung out with Burma all the time. They kept each other company. So he's another longtime resident of the city of Bellbrook.
And then also, I heard recently that Ted Patrikas passed away recently also, who Patrikas Park is named
I did
after.
not.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
That is all I have. Louis, do you have anything this evening? Seeing none, do we have any other business to come before us this evening, City Council? Seeing none, this meeting is now adjourned.